Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. To some of y'all, and peace out to the rest of you. Hit the share button because the message is more important than the messenger. Regarding this message, there's one other thing I wanted to point out, and I want to give a shout out to Hybrid Vigor for reminding me about this. As y'all know, I record several versions for most uploadings that I upload. And that's because I get interrupted, and then I get interrupted again, and then I get interrupted again. And the interruptions usually don't stop. This time, I'm probably going to be interrupted because of traffic. I'm on my way to work now, and as I've said before, it just doesn't stop. One thing I didn't point out last time, but I thought I did, was, oh boy, yep, it's going to be a bad experience getting through this roundabout. It's going to be a doozy here. So one thing I wanted to point out last time, and for whatever reason I forgot, is that I'm aware of the difference between the Western woman and the Wicked Witch of the West. See, told you could hit a horn, huh? There's no way around it. You can't be civilized and drive and get where you're going. So anyway, there's a difference between the Wicked Witch of the West and the Western woman. The Western woman is by default a victim of a bad message. She's raised in the West, born or not, she's raised in the West, and so she gets all of the socializing messages through the TV and through other women. The Wicked Witch of the West internalizes it, knows what she would not tolerate, and will still do what it is she would not tolerate. She has a take and not give approach. Somewhere down the line, even if it's subconsciously, she feels she's better than men. That men are less human right off the bat. And this turns a lot of women into Wicked Witches of the West. They simply started off as Western women, but they grew up and became Wicked Witches of the West due to the messages that they got repetitively. And also due to hearing some of the advice from elder women, even in their own families, about how to play games with men, how to manipulate men, how to get out of men without giving, sexually or non-sexually, even husbands. And hearing women talk about things like how to get away with cheating on your husband, not just how to cheat, but how to get away with it. Or how to become the woman that he doesn't want to find out is cheating on him, so he won't go looking for evidence. Things like that. I'm telling you straight away that if you know a woman that would talk like this, if you know a woman that does not think that is scandalous, if you know a woman that sympathizes right off the bat with women who come out and say they've done these things, if you know women that try to defend Jada, and I'm not even talking about her conversation with Gwyneth Paltrow, because she was talking about the beginning, in all honesty. Jada Pinkett Smith was talking with Gwyneth Paltrow about how things were from jump. Her stupid, childish expectations at that age. And she was too old to have them at that age, too. By the time you're old enough to get married by Western standards, really, by the time you're old enough to conceive kids, male or female, you're supposed to know that people can't read your mind. She was 22, I think. I forgot how old. I don't even care. She was an adult when she got married, and she had this idea that Will should have read her mind, and Gwyneth Paltrow was like, yeah, we're so crushed when they can't do it. How about you fuck the shuck up? And then Jada's mother was sitting there nodding her head like, yeah, I've been there. You're too old to be there when you're old enough to get married. If you can get through university, you shouldn't be stupid enough to think that men can read your minds. I'm gonna tell you now, if a man is dumb enough to think that a woman can read his mind because she loves him, he ain't smart enough to get through a university. And universities don't measure intelligence. But what I wanted to get at was that you can take Jada and what she said about other things, and you can see that if a woman is willing to justify Jada or willing to justify Aisha, or willing to justify Nicole Irie Parker or Gabrielle Union, and I'm only using these celebrities because everybody knows who they are. But when a woman's willing to justify them, then all you have to ask yourself is, are they aware of the immorality of justifying the immorality of these women? Or are they not realizing that they're doing it? Because if they are aware of the immorality of justifying them and they still try to do it, even if they're trying to deflect, that's the Wicked Witch of the West. It's a very thin line, and the line's not only thin, it's crooked. But there is a line separating the Western woman from the Wicked Witch of the West. And there are women out there that really don't mean men any harm. They're still victims of bad training. They'll slip up, forget, turn around and absent-mindedly try to justify the effery of the Wicked Witches of the West. And at that point, they become Wicked Witches of the West. That does exist, and that's what I meant when I said that the line is crooked. It all depends mostly on the woman's memory and her conscience at that time. But there is that difference, and that difference has to be understood. And I'm sorry that I didn't put this in my last message, but I was limited in terms of time, and I am even now. So I'll say this to say that when women, it's like my students I've talked about before, and ladies, if you're listening, it's up to you if you want to or not, but if you are listening, keep in mind that I put these distinctions into other messages and other uploads, but I didn't put it into my last one. Look, my students used to be nothing but a majority of cheaters and a minority of actual students. Rat bastard hypocrite cheaters who never told the truth about anything academically. Never learned, and then came into my classes and didn't know what they were supposed to know from before, and then cheated their way through my classes too. About 80% of them. And when I wouldn't tolerate it, fewer and fewer students began to cheat, and a lot of this also had to do with the central governments in the Gulf countries cracking down on this cheating and its entitlement. A lot of them simply said, nah, you know what, it's not okay. And if you do get caught cheating and there's enough proof, and the ministries of education find out, then they're going to side with the universities, or they're going to side with the evidence. This is important to understand and remember. My students that were good students, that came in, started their university classes with me, knowing what they were supposed to know from middle school and high school, and not needing to cheat to pass, had another problem. One, they would help out other students that were shitbag cheaters. And I refer to them like that from the bottom of my black heart and the depths of my black mind. No apologies. The cheaters were subhuman pieces of shit. And they were hypocrites because they would go and pray, show up for the test and cheat. Or if the test was before the prayer time, they would cheat and then go to pray. And they actually believed that it was okay to cheat because English is a language of the disbeliever, and therefore cheating was fine. I kid you not. Yeah, some made up non-existent sheikh said this decades ago, and they took it and ran with it. So, this is what they did. The good students would make the mistake of helping them. There were times I'd catch a cheater red-handed. Catch them in the act, write them up, and the good students would jump up because their English was good, and they would try to run intercession for the little shitbags. And one day I had to flip a chair over and tell everybody, fuck the shuck up, and hear me out. Now I'm talking to those of you that are fluent and bilingual. Listen to me right quick and don't say nothing. Don't interrupt. I don't want to hear what you got to say. I'm right. You're wrong. You say something, I'm going to throw you out. And so I had to tell them, if you have been a good student and you don't cheat, but you give answers to someone, you're still cheating. And secondly, when I catch someone red-handed and I write the report, you fuck the shuck up and don't say anything, or I'm going to put you down on the report trying to defend them. And here's why I'm doing that. You studied, you did the job you were supposed to do. Your only problem is that you let subhuman piece of shit cheaters ride off of you and benefit off of your work. You studied. You still make some mistakes. You might get an A-. That little subhuman piece of shit rat bastard cheater will cheat off everybody. That nigga will get 100 if I don't stop him, if I don't catch him. I know who they are because they don't know anything and they turn in a test and they'll get 100. So I know who to look for. I'm experienced at this. But when I look at them and I catch them, you fuck the shuck up. Don't defend me. Don't defend them and say, Dr. Black, he doesn't speak any English. Yeah, that's the problem. This is not a beginner's English course. It's university level. They slept through middle school. They slept through high school. If the teachers were crap, they still didn't do what you did because you had the same teachers. You did something they didn't. And when you get out of the school and you finish and you graduate and you're looking for a job, these little subhuman rat bastard pieces of shit will have used connections to get jobs. You have to interview with them and they won't hire you. You're helping them today. These ninjas will not hire you tomorrow. Because the system is like this. They're not going to stop on their own. You being good students and being smart and responsible and respectable are going to have to be the ones that put a stop to this. If you don't fight it, nobody will. This is what I had to get them to understand. This is very important. And this is what I did not specify in this recording, but I do want you ladies who don't mean men any harm to understand this. The pick-me's are right. And the women that will demand to take and not give from men, they're wrong. All you got to do is not be stupid enough to defend them. That's very, very, very important. That is everything right there. If you make the mistake of defending them, talking about what a man owes and what she does not owe that man, then you're going to wind up like some ladies in the sphere, your sphere I'm talking about, who actually are driving in a way and don't care if it's a gender war. Remember, there was one lady that said she wasn't with that gender war stuff. And now she's all buddy-buddy, cozied up next to the lady who said, oh no, it's war. We're not here about being fair. We don't care. We take and we don't give. Men owe and women never owe and men never deserve. Those wicked witches of the West, they will drag you into a war if you weren't looking for it already. And it will have you pushing your men away that you weren't trying to push away if you're not careful. Sorry that I didn't get a chance to explain this last time. Thanks for listening. Black heart, black mind, black out. Assalamu alaikum. Till next time.